This is English for Real People, a journey into clear, authentic English, explained slowly, calmly, and with purpose, where every episode brings you closer to understanding the language in its natural form. Welcome.
Welcome to the debate. When we notice a crack in a building's foundation, our first instinct is usually to look for like a massive structural overhaul.
Right. Yeah. Bring in the cranes, pour the new concrete.
Exactly. We assume a heavy problem demands this giant, sweeping solution. But when it comes to the architecture of the human mind, specifically how we maintain mental clarity, those massive overhauls almost always fail.
Yeah, they do. Real stability actually comes from micro habits. And the core question we are tackling today is, where do those tiny solutions actually live?
Right. Like, are we better off changing the literal words inside our heads? Or do we need to change the physical space and actions around us? I argue that our internal linguistic framing dictates our baseline reality.
And I come at it from a completely different way. I argue that when you're overwhelmed, tangible physical actions in your environment are, well, the indispensable foundation. You have to anchor the body before you can clear the mind.
Think about the sheer volume of time we spend listening to our own internal monologue, though. The specific words we choose don't just reflect our mood. Neurologically, they construct it.
Okay, but
Let me just give a quick example. Take a simple cognitive shift, like appending the phrase, "for now," to a negative feeling.
Oh, right, the for now technique.
Yeah. Saying, "I am exhausted for now." That isn't just poetic phrasing, you know? It's active cognitive distancing.
Right.
By shifting the language, you reduce amygdala activation. You stop treating a temporary emotion as, well, a permanent identity, which literally creates the mental space needed to process pressure.
That's a compelling argument. I mean, on paper. But have you considered what happens when the brain is already running on empty?
What do you mean?
Well, when you're facing high cognitive load, trying to intellectualize your way out of stress requires prefrontal cortex energy that you simply don't possess. You can't think your way out of overthinking. That's why physical microactions are so critical. Creating a tiny island of order, like clearing a single corner of your desk.
Just one corner?
Yeah, just one corner. Or just stepping outside for 2 minutes to let the air hit your skin. That sensory input entirely bypasses the exhausted linguistic centers of the brain.
Bypasses them completely?
Exactly. It forcibly breaks the rumination loop by grounding you in physical reality.
I see why you think that. And sure, I agree sensory grounding works well in a vacuum. But what happens when the stress isn't just internal fatigue?
Like what?
Like a barrage of external stressors, bad news, demanding relationships, work emails at 10 p.m.
Well,
A clean desk will not save you there. That is where internal filters become your absolute last line of defense. Take the practice of the evening filter, asking yourself, does engaging with this help me rest?
okay, but that requires...
Or finding low-pressure gratitude, like quietly acknowledging your morning coffee was exactly the right temperature. Relying strictly on physical actions is like painting over a crumbling wall. Unless you fix the structural internal language, the pressure of the outside world is just going to crack right through the paint again.
I'm sorry, but I just don't buy that. Let me tell you why. You can't just think your way out of a crumbling wall when the environment itself is, raining down on you.
But the internal framing, structural integrity requires physical boundaries. If you want to stop that 10 p.m. stress, you don't just softly reframe it. You set a strict environmental boundary and turn off the router.
That's a bit extreme.
It's necessary. Or look at modern isolation. You cannot internally reframe the biology of loneliness. Breaking that isolation requires an external anchor.
Like what, exactly?
Like sending a 15-second voice message or asking a friend for a 5-minute chat. Hearing a physical voice, even your own, out loud, actually stimulates the vagus nerve.
Right.
It regulates the nervous system in a way that silent, internal reframing simply cannot achieve.
That's an interesting point, though I would frame the mechanism totally differently. Why does that 5-minute chat actually work?
Because of the vagus nerve, like I said.
No, it isn't just the mechanical sound waves hitting your eardrum. It works because the conversation triggers a profound internal realization that you aren't designed to carry everything alone.
But the action is what?
The physical action is just a delivery vehicle. It's the internal softening, the linguistic shift from I am isolated to I am supported that actually does the healing.
But without that external delivery vehicle, the internal mind remains a closed echo chamber. If you don't reach out into the physical world and pull that tangible thread, the brain just keeps looping the same heavy script. The physical action is the catalyst that makes the cognitive shift possible.
Well, this exchange really illuminates the core tension in how we build resilience. Do we primarily shape our reality top-down through linguistic choices and cognitive filters?
Or bottom up, anchoring ourselves through physical behaviors and environmental boundaries.
Exactly. It's a fundamental question. But despite our disagreement on the primary driver, there is a vital point of convergence here, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. We both agree that when we are exhausted, giant sweeping solutions fail. Sustainable positivity has to be tiny, truthful, and entirely free of pressure.
Exactly. Understanding that human habits operate on both cognitive and physical levels helps us navigate our own complex mental landscapes.
So the next time you feel that structural pressure building, ask yourself, do you need to rewrite the internal language to fix the foundation?
Or is it time to stop thinking, step outside, and physically reset the very ground you're standing on?